This short video covers key area 3.3 of National 5 Biology photosynthesis topic and is the first of two short videos about photosynthesis. First of all, a little bit of revision. Green plants are also known as producers. That is, they make their own food, and their own food is made through the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis produces sugar, and that sugar is the energy at the start of every food chain. So when an animal eats a plant, it gets that energy from the sugar the plant has made. Photosynthesis happens in chloroplasts, and chloroplasts have chlorophyll inside them, which is a green pigment which traps light energy from the sun. Now, if we have a look over here, there's some diagrams of chloroplasts. They've got these darker areas here, which are green, and then there's some lighter areas as well. So there are two distinct parts to a chloroplast, and that's important because there's two stages in photosynthesis, and one stage happens here and the other stage would happen here. You don't need to know the details about that, but it does help you understand why some substances are moving from one stage to another, actually moving about to a different area in the chloroplast. Let's have a look at the two stages and their names. The first stage is called the light reactions, and from its name you can guess that that's where the sunlight is involved. Sunlight traps, the energy from the sunlight is trapped by the chlorophyll, and then in stage 2, carbon fixation. Strictly speaking, it doesn't need any light for that to happen, but stage 2 will not happen unless stage 1 has provided some products that are needed in stage 2. So you do need light for photosynthesis. Let's have a look at the light reactions. In the light reactions, light energy is trapped by the chlorophyll, and this is used to split water apart. So we put the chemical formula of water in there, H2O, which most people are familiar with, to remind us of what it would get split into. If you've got something containing hydrogens and oxygens, if you split it up, you're going to have your hydrogens and oxygens separated out. The light energy is also converted into chemical energy in the form of ATP. We've met ATP before. ATP is the only form of chemical energy that plants can use, and animals for that matter. All living things use ATP. The oxygen that was produced from the splitting of the water actually diffuses out of the leaf. It's described as a byproduct, something that's also made in the reaction, but wasn't the purpose of the plant doing photosynthesis. The plant's doing photosynthesis to get some sugar, get some food. Oxygen just happens to be made, so that's a byproduct, and it releases out into the air by going out through the stomata. The hydrogen from the splitting of water and the ATP are the two products that are passed on to stage 2, and you'll pretty much always get asked that in an exam. Which two products of light reactions go to stage 2? Here's someone's diagram. There's all sorts of different ways you could depict it to show this information. This person here has got your water splitting into oxygen and hydrogen, showing that the oxygen diffuses away, and the hydrogen is going to stage 2 along with the ATP. There's been a conversion of energies. Light energy from the sun has been changed into chemical energy in the form of ATP. And ATP and hydrogen have to go to the second stage, which is in a different part of the chloroplast. The second stage is called carbon fixation. And the way I usually think about this is if you fix something, like if I'm going to fix something onto the wall, I'm going to trap it there. And carbon fixation is all about getting carbon dioxide from the air and getting the carbon from that to be staying in the plant. So carbon dioxide diffuses in through the stomata into the spongy mesophyll. If we have a look at the diagram, we can see this circle in the diagram. That's because this is a cycle, or something that's going to keep happening over and over. Reactions in living things don't just happen as a one-off. We need to keep remaking the same stuff. So plants constantly need to make new sugar every day. They can't just make it once and that's it. So if we imagine this is a big process, what's happening is that ATP, which is the energy, and hydrogen, which came from the split water, these two products from the first stage arrive at the second stage in order to get it to work. So the second stage needs these two products. ATP is there to be the energy to join together hydrogen from stage 1 and carbon dioxide that's coming in out of the air. Carbons, hydrogens and oxygens get combined together to make this sugar, which is glucose. And ATP is there to provide the energy to combine these two chemicals together. Somebody thought it's so important to put this into a big box. Make sure you don't say hydrogen, carbon dioxide and ATP are all joining together. They're not. It's carbon dioxide and hydrogen that are getting joined, and ATP is the energy for that. Another important exam question is what happens to the sugar produced in photosynthesis? Well, there's 3 possible uses for it. The first one is for using it for respiration. The glucose that we are familiar with at the start of respiration, plants use that glucose, which is the sugar they've made, for respiration. Plants do respiration all the time. They need to make ATPs. Other sugar is used to be stored as starch, and you see starch grains in a plant, and you can test a leaf for starch. You need to know about the experiment testing leaf for starch, and you could be asked about that in an exam, asking you about the different steps involved. And the third use of the sugar could be to make cellulose for cell walls. You've learned about that previously. Cell walls have crisscross fibres of cellulose. It's very strong. So if we put all of that together to make an overall equation for photosynthesis, combining together the 2 stages, what we've got is carbon dioxide and water as the 2 raw materials. They will only combine together if we've got light energy and chlorophyll present. Chlorophyll is the green pigment in the plant. Light energy has to be there to start off, so this doesn't happen in the dark. If we've got the 2 ingredients, carbon dioxide and water, often called the raw materials, things you can just get out of your environment as they are, and these essential requirements here, we will get the glucose and the oxygen.